to be moving around with my camera a whole lot. I want my backgrounds to be really pretty, but today has been pretty cool so far. Something very different that did happen. The utilities went out like everywhere. The traffic lights, they went out, and it's like everybody was lost and confused, and it almost was a wreck in a way that kind of made me realize like how lost and chaotic we and this planet is without source, without God, without guidance. Honestly, things didn't go back to normal until the utilities came back on, until that energy came back. But without it, everybody was coming out their houses confused, like what's going on, what's happening. It was a little chaotic, but that just put me in the mind to where like if we ever feel like our life is chaotic, or if we ever like look at the world and see how chaotic the world is, that's just a sign that God is not in it. The energy is just not there. I don't know why that just made me think about like off the movie Moana. I think about that movie so much, but Maui, he was saying that he's nothing without his hook, and in the movie he actually was a whole demigod. Like he was half human, half God, and the people of his place, they worshiped him because he gave them the sun, he gave them light, he gave them everything. But without his hook, it's like he acknowledged that he had, it's like his powers were nothing, and it's like we have to remember the same thing. Like, yes, we're amazing people, but we have to remember that without God, without this life force that's within us, we absolutely are nothing. This YouTube channel, yes, it may be my voice and my doings, but without the spirit inside of me, it's not even possible. The spirit, it gives us life. It gives us the energy to get up and do the things that we need to do or desire to do, and I think a lot of times we solely go based off of what we are doing, and we kind of neglect or forget the fact, or just simply don't know, that that's God behind that process. That's the spirit, this life force that's behind everything, so yeah, it's just we have to be mindful to give the acknowledgement and praise to who really deserves it, which is the Most High, the spirit that's within us, this life force that's within us. No matter what greatness we do in the world, we wouldn't be able to do it without this spirit that's inside of us, this life force, but just, I don't know, it's like everybody is so busy, this world is so busy and constantly on the move. Like, honestly, whenever the utilities went out, like, I instantly started thinking to myself, like, moment of silence. Like, I don't know if y'all ever did moment of silence when you were in school, but we used to do that, and it was after we did the national anthem. We just did a moment of silence where everybody was quiet, everybody was still. And I feel like in a way that's what happened today, just that moment of silence, because we have technology, which is a blessing and a curse, but we're constantly around noise, constantly watching something, whether it's on the TV, our phones, constantly talking, constantly doing, constantly working, like we're all constantly busy, and it just pays off to sit still sometimes in absolute silence, just to kind of tune into that life force that's within us. But yeah, that's all that I wanted to share with y'all though. I just thought it was pretty cool how the lights shut off everywhere, and it made people in our community even more like talkative to each other. Like people that I normally pass by and they normally pass me by, and we normally just say like hey to each other and go on about our business. We actually had something to talk about. We actually were able to communicate with each other, and our conversations were more than just hi, so in those moments of silences, that's when and also the moments of darknesses in our lives. It just gives us the chance to, one, sit in that moment of silence, and also to kind of like look around. Because once again, when we're constantly busy, constantly on the go, it's easy to overlook people and things, you know. But sometimes those spells of darkness, whether it's grief, sorrow, loss in the family, disease, illness, whatever the case may be, sometimes those things happen to get us to sit still and to like look around, you know. But yeah. And it's crazy though, because like I was talking to one of my sisters earlier, and she's actually not feeling well. And she was saying that this whole time she's been like telling God or spirit that like she needed a break, she needed, you know, a moment to herself. And it just so happened to where she actually got sick. And so now, although it does suck that she is sick, I am praying for her. But she's being able to sit at home like she has been wanting to do, and just kind of find out what it is that Spirit is trying to tell her. Because I mean, sometimes also those dark moments come in because Spirit has been trying to communicate something to us, but we've just kind of been a little bit too busy. So when we're sitting to ourselves, kind of like after traumatic events or sicknesses, death in the family, that's when we finally get time alone with ourselves, with this life force that's within us, you know. So yeah, just finding a way every day to take time out with this spirit that's inside of us and ask, like, what do you want me to do today? Do you have any messages for me? Is there anything that I need to know? And really sitting in silence with that, you know. I kind of struggle with that really bad, honestly, because when I first wake up, honestly, the first thing that's on my mind is cleaning. You know, to me, that's like a little ritual that I have. A little routine. I like for things to be straight when I wake up. And my daughters, they're constantly with me, so it's constant noise and crying and things of that nature and doing. So I just have to find a way to get to a still place, a quiet place, in order to hear Spirit, in order to hear that voice that's what's inside me, you know. But we just have to know that every day we are blessed, even if it's like a poopy day. This Spirit is still inside of us and is still working with us, you know. The other day when I was taking a bath, I actually was thanking Spirit, thanking Yahweh, thanking God for the things that I've been saved from that I didn't know, you know, because it's kind of hard for us to know that we're protected and loved, like mostly protected, if we don't see what Spirit has been protecting us from, you know. And I got to thinking to myself too, like, no, we can't see God because God is a spirit and energy, a frequency. But I also can't see oxygen. But I very much know that it's there, it's keeping me alive. You know, same thing with God, same thing with His protection and His love. I may not always see it. Sometimes I may not always feel it either. But that does not eliminate the fact that, you know, it is there, you know. So, yeah, I was just thanking God for the many things that I've been protected from that I didn't even know about. Like sometimes we get upset because of a rejection, and we don't see that that was really God working in that other person or that other company or that other job to protect us from something that was not meant for us, something that would have destroyed us, something that would have taken us away from His goodness, something that would have really veered us off track, And I think we've all faced some level of rejection, whether it's from a group of people that we want acceptance from, or a job, or maybe a friend group, or even a relationship, maybe somebody we really like. But we just have to know that there's something that God saw in that opportunity or in that person or in those group of people that we were completely unaware of. And so that's why that rejection came about. We have to remember that if something is meant for us, we're gonna get it. If we're meant to be with a person, that's gonna happen. But if on down the line a rejection comes up, that's God kind of trying to tell us like, hey, this ain't the one. It's either one, I'm protecting you from something that'll harm you or veer you off track, or I have something better in store for you. I have something better. Because what if it is a job that you really had your eyes set on and they didn't accept you, and then you turn around maybe a couple weeks or months later and you get a job that one is way more fit for you and also pays more, and has more flexible hours. So, and I would also, like, in my own personal situation, I actually can use that as a testimony, because I got my dream job, which was to be a receptionist. And I loved that job so much. But what happened was COVID came around. I was pregnant. I actually got away from the job because I started hurting really bad during my pregnancy. And so when I walked away from the job so I could be at home to kind of like be on bed rest for my pregnancy or whatever, they told me that the only way I could come back was if I got the COVID shot. And at that time, I didn't want to get the COVID shot because I'm pregnant, And I also didn't want to get it after I gave birth because I was breastfeeding. So because I did not get my shot, I was rejected for my job, And fast forward, moving forward, now I'm able to work here at home with my babies, So it's kind of like if I never would have been rejected from that job, I never would have came across this opportunity to be here at home and make money with my babies, So we just kind of have to always remember that God is forever present, and anything that happens in our lives is orchestrated. But we have to kind of know and understand that everything happens for a reason, whether we know that reason or not. And that's crazy because I told y'all I've been watching Anointed Fire like a whole lot lately, but something that she always says, which is in the Bible, with all thy getting, get an understanding. A lot of times once again these rejections pop up, or delays, or we get laid off jobs, or relationships, marriages don't work out, and we get frustrated, we get upset, and it's simply because there's a bit of information we don't have, we don't know, or we just simply don't understand. My grandmother passed, and it hurt me for a long time, and honestly I still get a little sad about it, but it's just simply because there's some things I don't understand. There's some things I don't understand. And that also made me think about forgiveness. Like if it's ever a person that we feel resentful towards, or somebody that we're just like, oh, I'll never forgive you because you did this, you did that. Lack of understanding, will have us in this mentality of anger and rage and resentment. It's just something we simply don't understand, and so that's why we pray for understanding. We pray for that revelation as to why this happened, and pray for a higher perspective, But understanding is everything, knowing that there's a reason behind everything. And it is our job to ask why. That is our job, because we are to seek an understanding. And once we get that level of understanding, that's what allows us to make peace with it. That's when we have those epiphanies, those aha moments, like, oh wow, that's why that relationship didn't work out. That's why she or he rejected me. That's why I didn't get that job. That's why that happened, So understanding is everything. Understanding is everything. If there's anything in our lives, once again, that we feel resentful about, angry about, sad about, bitter about, it's just there's something about us there's something about it that we didn't fully understand. And it's kind of difficult. I don't know if y'all are anything like me, but for me personally, it's difficult for me to move forward from something if I don't understand it. And I honestly feel like that's what creates karmic cycles so much, and why we go from one partner that may have been a type of way and we end up with somebody who's exactly like them, just in a different body, because we carried the pain. We knew how we felt in that relationship or that situation or job, but we did not understand what really happened. We didn't fully get the revelation. And when we get the revelation and the understanding, that is the only way to actually be able to move forward. So sometimes we have to stay in karmic cycles just until we understand, because if you just move on from a relationship or marriage, all you know is that it didn't work out, but you don't fully understand why it didn't work out, what role you played in it, will just likely attract somebody the exact same way. So that's why it's encouraged for us to sit still instead of just moving forward, because I can honestly say that, like, one thing about spirituality is that sometimes there's this logo of just forget the past, just move forward. You're not going back, don't look back, move forward. But it's just like, okay, if you're coming out of a situation that you did not understand, you don't understand what happened, you don't understand what pushed that person away, you don't understand, you're very likely to continue to have that question in your mind as you're moving forward. Like, you may be moving into a new chapter, but it's just like you aren't fully understanding what really happened in the last chapter. So the last chapter is still technically open. It's kind of like if you're watching a movie. It'll be difficult for you to go from one scene in the movie, then you go to another scene in the movie, and then the movie comes to an end, and you still like, okay, well, what did that mean? That would leave you with questions, and it's like the same thing with us in real life, Case example, if somebody is coming out of an abusive relationship or marriage, all they know is that their partner was abusive, and they get out of that and they move forward to somebody else, and that person is abusive too, and they think to themselves, okay, why did I end up with somebody that was also abusive moving forward? So it's just like, okay, they may have acknowledged that that person was abusive, but they didn't get an understanding of, okay, how did I end up with somebody that was abusive? How did I overlook the red flags? What red flags were there that I didn't, take heed to? Or how did this come about? So it's our job to sit down and get an understanding of these things. It's our job to get an understanding, and that's the only way we can truly make peace with things. As if we understand why that relationship did not work out, understand why that marriage did not work out, understand why that loved one passed on, understand the goal, the mission, the assignment, understand God's will in that area. It's our job to question, why did this happen? It is our job, but once again, I think that's something. It's like priest in the church, you don't question God, you don't question the will of God, things of that nature. But here's the thing, y'all, if we don't question, we won't know. It says, asking, you shall receive, knocking, you shall find, or something like that. Like, that's in the Bible, y'all. It's our job to ask questions. Why did my parents' marriage not work out? Why? That is our job, because if we don't ask those questions, we will continue to walk in darkness. We will continue to not understand, continue to attract partners who are like our past partner. And it's all due to ignorance, a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, you know. But it's our job to have those questions. Why didn't that job work out? And then really sit still and wait for God to show us the answer, wait for God to give us that answer, and that is what allows that peace to come through. Because I don't know if y'all have ever had an epiphany about something, but when you have an epiphany, it's like your brain finally makes sense of something, like, oh, that's why this happened, that's why she was acting this way. Like, it gives you a sense of relief because you know why this happened, you know. So yes, it is our job to ask questions. It is our job to not question God, but ask questions and genuinely be curious, because God wants to teach us. You know, if you have a teacher and you're not raising your hand up, you know, you're going to continue to sit there and fail all the tests in front of you because you did not raise your hand. You asked no questions. You know, same thing with us in this lifetime. Spirit is there. It wants us to communicate. It wants us to ask questions. It wants us to be curious and demand answers. It wants us to do that. God wants us to do that, you know. So, yeah, it helps us on the path of self-discovery and learning and all of that, you know. But, yeah. So anybody, if you're thinking to yourself, like, why do I keep attracting the same partner? It's likely because in the past, there was some information that we didn't get about a situation. We did not fully learn a lesson, you know, and the only way to learn a lesson is to, like, learn. The only way to learn is to, like, actually seek out knowledge, seek an understanding, seek out, you know, information. That's how we pass tests. Y'all know how it used to be in school. You know, if you had a question, you raise your hand. That's how you get the information that you need. You know, that's how you get the information that you need. But if you don't raise your hand, the teacher's gonna assume that you know everything. Even if they see you struggling, it's just like, well, he or she didn't raise their hand. They didn't ask for help. So I just let them go ahead and take the test. And it's like God is the same way with us. Like, she didn't raise her hand. She didn't ask no questions. She didn't, you know. So I let her get in that other relationship and let her feel it, you know. Because she gave off the impression and the vibe, and she had the mentality that she had it figured out. New person, no problems, you know. She thought she knew the way, so I let her, you know. Same thing, y'all. It's our job to ask questions, you know. And then and only then will we actually open up the portal of communication to God, you know. Because normally when we're talking to God, we asking for something, you know. And honestly, like father to daughter, father to son, God don't mind giving us things, but it's just like, that just put in my mind, like, if a child was asking their parent for like a large amount of money, if their parent had the money, they probably wouldn't mind giving their child the money. But it's just like, if you're not asking me how to budget this money, if you're not asking me what bank you need to be putting this money in, if you're not asking me where you should invest this money, how you can flip this money and make more money off this money, like, I feel like I'm handing you something that you don't know what you're doing with, you know. It's like, I want to give you this, but you're not going to know what to do with it. You're not going to know. You don't have all of the knowledge that you need. I want to get you this Bugatti, but you don't know how to keep up with a car. You don't know much about taking care of this car, you know? And so that's like, sometimes we may think to ourselves, okay, well, why am I not blessed with this yet? Like, God sees that I need this or I want this, why haven't I gotten it? And a lot of times it's because God knows that we're not not only are we not prepared for it, but we lack knowledge. We want to be a billionaire, but we lack knowledge on how to manage money. We lack knowledge on what we should invest it into when we do get it. You know? Once again, it's our job to seek an understanding. It's our job to ask Spirit, what do I need to know? In this moment, this day, what do I need to know? Because, y'all, when I tell you this life is filled with so much knowledge that where we can't learn it all in one day, you know? So that's why in the Lord's Prayer, it's like, give me this daily, like, give us our daily bread this day. What do I need to know for today? What's today's lesson? What do I need to know to prepare me for what I have been asking for? That just made me think of, like, if they're wanting like fame or something, wanting to be famous or something like that, or just simply talking in front of like a large crowd of people, things of that nature, you maybe thinking to yourself like, well, what it takes for me to get to that lifestyle? God knows that I want to communicate, deal with a lot of people, be in front of a lot of people. Why hasn't it happened yet? And it's just like, God is just like, you don't know how to handle that much attention at once. You don't have your social skills up to par just yet. You know, you don't know how to maintain your heartbeat and your anxiety in front of people just yet. So that's why this dream of yours has not come to pass just yet. It's still more knowledge that we have to acquire, but we have to, be in a quiet and calm enough place to actually receive those answers. And also we have to ask, you know, because God ain't gonna give us something that we didn't ask for. And it kind of put me in the mind of that other video that I uploaded about us all having a table. It's just like, if we don't ask for the table, if we giving off the impression that, oh, I got it, you know, and I have that so bad, y'all. I have that so bad. Like, I got that so bad. But we just give out the impression like, I got it. And God is just like, all right, you want to keep using your materials, you want to keep doing it your way, go ahead. And the table keep falling down, and we're just like, why does it keep falling? Why don't it work out? Every relationship I get into, why it ain't working out? Why it keep crumbling? Why it don't work? Why it keep falling apart? Every relationship or friendship group or marriage that I get into, something happened. Why? We ask these questions, but we don't really be genuine. We just be frustrated. But when we can overcome that frustration, that emotion, and actually from a logical and serious point of view, like really, like, why haven't these relationships been working? You know, or when I get into different friend groups, why do they fall apart? Or when I try to go into the world and establish my business or my plans, why doesn't it work out for me? Like genuinely, like, I want to know, like, why doesn't it ever work out for me? You know, and then get somewhere still and really let Spirit show us why. And honestly, one thing I can say, the way that Spirit has been answering me, a lot of times is through other people. Like, if I'm asking myself, like, okay, what went wrong in that relationship, or why did this happen? Sometimes I will be talking to somebody else and they will be like talking about a relationship that they were in, and they'll be talking about that person. I'm just like, oh, like, listening to other people a lot of times is what helps things in my brain to click, because, like, I don't know, that's why I like listening to people vent so much. That's why I like listening, because I don't know, I always learn a lot from people. Like, when people are talking about how things went wrong in their life, like, sometimes it's easy for me personally to pinpoint what went wrong in another person's life than it is mine, because I'm like right here up on my own problems. So it's kind of difficult for me to see my own shortcomings and the potholes in my own life. But if somebody around me is going through the exact same thing or something similar, I'm just like, oh, it's this. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, so I have my answer now. You know, so to me, that's how God answers me the most, through other people who are going through something very similar to me. just listening to them talk about it, I'm just putting pieces together, and I'm just like, you know, like it just makes sense listening to other people. Other times the answer could come in the form of something like maybe a movie or something that you hear on the radio, or a dream, or a banner while you're driving, you know. Spirit always answers us, but we have to be on the lookout. That's why in the Bible it says not only to be prayerful, but also be watchful. Be watchful, you know, because we could pray for something, we could pray for guidance and information and pray for answers, but if we're not like actually observant, we'll miss it every time. We'll miss it every time, you know. So yeah. So yeah, that's what was shown to me today, and yeah, it's our job to question things. It's our job to be curious. It's our job, because when you ask a question, you're opening up a portal. And when you open that portal, you allow God to come in, or whatever deity you worship. Hopefully it's God. I would say, especially whenever I was dealing with, which I didn't know at the time, witchcraft. If you're not specific, you don't know what type of spirit is answering you. So I would just say, whatever God that you call on, make sure that that's what you're doing. Because if you're just saying, all right, spirit, it's a lot of different spirits out there waiting to answer you. Okay, so just make sure you're specific. If it's Jesus that you call on, you say Jesus, da 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 da, or ask your question. Or Yahweh, Allah, Buddha, whatever everybody believes in, you know. But yeah, it's our job to ask questions, y'all. It's our job to do that. Ask and ye shall receive the answer. Knock and you shall find, you know. I don't remember exactly how the rest of it goes, but God does want us to question the things that's going on around us. Why is this world so chaotic? Why is there so much murder? Why is there so much violence? Why can't people get along? Why? And once we get that knowledge and understand, we can pass that knowledge to other people and they can understand. But at the end of the day, we all have to study to show ourselves approved. And that's something else that Anointed Fire mentioned. And to break that down, all that simply means is that, yes, I may tell you something, but you need to know for yourself. You know, I could tell you that the sky is blue, but you should go out there yourself just to do a quick check to make sure and show yourself that yes, it is blue. So that way you are solid in your knowledge. It's not just something that was just said to you and just like, oh, this was said to me, I believe it, it sounds right, yay. Like, no, you have witnessed this yourself. You understand yourself. That's solid information. It's not something that can be challenged. Is something that you know, unwavering knowledge, you know. But yeah, y'all, that's all that was on my mind. I just thought it was beautiful how it's kind of scary though also how Yahweh showed me today that like without the utilities, like there's no TV, the traffic is just chaotic, everybody coming out their places, like it's just chaotic without God. It's chaotic. And that made me think of this world. There's so much going on in this planet that if God was truly in control, which he is, but when I say control, it's if everybody welcomed God in and allowed God to do his job, and if the government and everybody else got out the way, this world would very quickly be restored. But because people in office feel like they know what they're doing, it's kind of like telling God like, oh, they got it. They got a president, they got a mayor, they got a governor. Let him figure this shit out. They don't want to call on me, and I created them. I gave them life. I can heal them of all these diseases, but they want to call on their mayor. They want to call on the president. So let them. Let these people figure it out with their little human baby brains. And that's why this world looks like this. You know? This world is a reflection of us worshiping idols, other people outside of God. That's why this world looks like this. We call on the president to make rules and to fix this world. We call on the mayor. We call on Congress. Now we see what good of a job they're doing. And it's going to continue to be like this until my people, you know, confess who God is and actually turns towards God. It's going to continue to look like this, and sadly it's going to get worse. You know? And it's not a punishment from God. It's just simply God getting back out the way. It's like, y'all want to worship y'all president? Okay, go ahead. I'm going to be over here doing me. You know? It's like, that's the punishment. God not being involved. That's the punishment. You know? That's the punishment. You know? But I do pray on behalf of this country, on this world, on this planet. I just pray that everybody just stop what they doing and stop in their tracks and just acknowledge that God is the only answer, the only way, the only everything. God is the cure. God is what will fix all of this. All of this. From the diseases to the child molestation to these jailbirds to all of that. God is the cure, the answer. But we have to turn to God, not Congress, not the White House. We keep going through different presidents, wondering why this president, it just seems like it get worse. But each president we get, and we wonder why it ain't working. Why does this planet still look like this? You know, why is healthcare still how it is? You know? And it's because we're calling on the wrong deities. You know? When we put our faith and our trust in man, this is how the world ends. That's how it ends up. But the very day whenever everybody on this planet can confess the name of God, the Almighty, and actually bow down and surrender and know that none of us have that type of power to control a planet that's not even fucking ours, that's the only way that this world will go back to being peaceful. You know? They kind of put me in the mind of the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, and I feel like in a way something like that will probably have to happen, because us humans with these egos that we have, especially people in power, the ego, it has to come across something that's way stronger and bigger than it, something that terrifies it for it to back down. And in the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still is this big ass black statue that it had one eye, and that eye, it was beaming red, and it controlled everything. Like the military airplanes tried to shoot it and shit, and the little beams, it made all the airplanes fall and shit. Like, I like movies like that because they put it out and people be thinking that, oh, it's just a movie, but like, nah, I really do feel like that's like some prediction type of shit. Like, if y'all little earthlings don't get y'all shit together, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I like those types of movies. But I do feel like something big is going to happen. It's going to have to happen in order for human beings on this planet to realize that we have no power. You know, we just need to be put back in our place. And it may take something very, not tragic, but something very scary, like that big ass statue or like alien invasion, something like that. Something is gonna have to happen to catch the White House's attention, to make everybody on this planet sit down and shut the fuck up and pay attention. Something very big is gonna have to happen. And to my people who know what's going on, to my people who are aware that this planet needs change, we will be okay. We won't be freaked out. But to the people who lack an understanding of what this world needs, to the people who didn't expect it, it would scare the shit out of them, you know. But yeah, we just have to really realize that, like, yeah, we do what we do, but we are absolutely ants, like smaller than ants compared to God Almighty. We are nothing. And the very second that we can humble ourselves and realize that, like really realize that, like I'm talking to y'all, but without the spirit within me, like I'm a flat piece of flesh. Like that's all I am. Without this spirit inside of me, I'm nothing. You know, nothing. So we just have to make sure to give God the credit. Make sure to know our place and just continue to seek an understanding, continue to be humble, continue to seek the Most High, and ask questions. Open up that portal, that line of communication, but also be receptive, be able to listen, because it's pointless to ask a question. And I'm pretty sure I annoy God. I'm pretty sure I annoy God whenever I do that. I would ask a question and then be too busy to receive the answer. Be too damn busy. Like, you ask me how to fix your life. You ask me, why did this happen? You ask me this, but you continue to be busy. You continue to be on the go. Meaning I'm answering you. I'm trying to answer you, but you're not receptive. You're not listening. You're not open. You know? It's like an unfinished task. Like you started on something, you never finish it. And I have that bad, you know? But it's easy for us to pray. It's easy to ask questions. But I feel like the hardest part for us humans is to listen. Like really listen. And to take heed. I feel like that's the hardest struggle of a human. You know? Because for us to hear, for us to listen, we have to really be aware. We have to really be observant. We have to really be on the lookout, like for real. Like it takes a whole nother level of stillness to be able to listen to the voice of God. It takes a whole nother level of stillness that a lot of people on this planet have not mastered, including myself. Because we constantly are in the need of stimulation, movement. We're working, taking care of kids, doing this, watching TV, watching videos. So it's hard for God to really get through to us. So sometimes God be having to shake some shit. You know, it doesn't want to, but it's just like, damn, this the only way to get your attention. I mean, shit. I guess I'll have to do that. I don't want to, but there's no other way for me to get through to you. You know? So, my goal in my own personal life is to get to the point to where I'm able to listen to God the easy way, instead of things in my life having to be tragic or like shocking. You know, I don't want God to have to violently get my attention. I want to be able to actually hear and observe and to perceive God, you know. But asking you shall receive. You're wondering, okay, why do you keep attracting the same type of God? That's a really good question, you know. And sometimes God acknowledges that we have good ass questions. We can have a good ass question, but if we're not sitting still long enough, we keep hopping from relationship to relationship, nigga to nigga. It's just, we're not gonna get that answer. We're too busy, you know? Really thinking of moving on to the next situation is gonna fix or change anything. It's like, no, you still lack understanding. You know, if you fell over that pothole and you don't know why you fell in that pothole, so you come across another pothole, you try to walk forward, you fall in that one too. What you didn't understand is that you gotta walk around it or jump around it or you're gonna fall in it. But if we move on to the next pothole, don't understand what we did to fall into that one, you know, gotta watch where we're going. But if we don't know that, don't have that knowledge, we just continue to fall for the same shit. Just in a different city, on a different street. You know? So just really asking ourselves, like, what was the lesson in that? And sitting still to where God can actually answer us. That relationship, that marriage that didn't work out, why didn't that work out? Like, what really happened? What really happened? Like, outside of how I feel, outside of what I interpreted, what really happened? What was the lesson in that? What was I supposed to take from that relationship or marriage? What was God trying to show me? What do I need to know about that relationship or marriage? And that's like the only way to actually free ourselves from a situation, free ourselves from a connection that didn't work out, is if we truly understand what it was, what really happened, and what purpose that relationship or marriage served. What was it supposed to teach us? What was it supposed to show us? And once we fully get that lesson, we fully understand, boom, you know, can move forward in a clear mind with that lesson down pat. We mastered that lesson, then we can move on, you know. But it's like, if we don't pass the basic math, ain't no way we're gonna pass the damn algebra, and what was the other one in school, trigonometry, all of that. Can't expect to pass the more difficult lessons if we haven't even mastered the basics. That's why we get stuck in karmic cycles. That's why I feel like we're walking in a fucking circle. That's why it seems like we just keep going from one toxic person to another. That's why it seems like things are just not going anywhere. It's something we didn't understand. And it's our job to find out what we didn't understand, you know? So yes, ask questions. It's our job, it's our place. We are the children of God, and children are curious. Children have to learn. For children to learn, mommy, where did babies come from? They ask questions. And then mommy and daddy try to find a way to explain that shit. You know, and the best way that that little child will understand. And when that child fully understands, ain't no need for that child to ask that same question again. So we are going through life and we find ourselves asking the same question, like, well, why didn't he love me? Why didn't he choose me? Why didn't this work out? Why didn't she want me? Why didn't this work out? Why? That means we didn't fully understand. When you fully understand something, you don't keep asking the same shit. You don't keep having the same problems. If you fully understand that 2 + 2 is 4, there is no confusion. There is no confusion. You don't stumble when you come across another 2 + 2 equation. You know the answer. You know what to do. But if we go from one equation to another one, we keep fumbling it, we don't understand it, we keep getting frustrated, we keep getting overwhelmed. It's something something still has not clicked. Something still has not clicked. And that's okay. That's okay. So I think sometimes our ego gets in the way and we get too prideful to say, I don't understand. We think that just because we're grown, we're supposed to know. But no, we don't understand, and that's all right. That's the only way God can actually come in and teach us the right way, is by confessing, no, I don't understand how to operate in a relationship. I wasn't taught that. No, I don't understand these things. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand why I react to certain ways that I do. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand why I get overwhelmed sometimes. I don't understand why I randomly get sad sometimes. I don't understand. I just know it happens. And so it keeps happening. We're just like, why? You know? And that's why we ask questions. And also, sit in meditation to where we can receive. Oh, it's 222, but to where we can receive. It's like prayer is talking out to God and meditation is receiving. But if we're constantly praying and asking, that's one line of communication. That's just one-way communication. You know? But a proper line of communication with God, you know, is you ask a question, you sit, you wait for an answer before you move on to the next algebraic equation, you know. But that's all that I have though, y'all. I just wanted to share with y'all what Yahweh showed me earlier while I was out in traffic. The lights, they were off. Everybody was so confused and it was just really chaotic, you know. And that just really put me in the mind of what's going on in this world, this planet. Honestly, to me, this world is a fucking mess. We can't blame the people in office because they're humans. They don't know how to run a planet that they did not create. They don't know how to run a country in which they have actually no control over. You know, they don't know what they're doing, so we have to have mercy on them. They're no different from us. Will we know how to run a fucking country? No, it's not our job. That's not our place. That's not our place. That's God's place to run this planet. God's place to run this country. Not our job. You know? So that's why this world looks like this. We can't blame no president. We can't blame the mayor. We can't blame them. We have to blame ourselves for putting trust in these people and expecting them to do something that God is supposed to do. You know? But I love y'all so much. I pray that this was a big eye-opener for you guys. But it's good to ask questions, okay? We have to imagine Earth as a school. And I remember my mom saying that, but it's like Earth is a school. And we have to really take that serious and know that we are the students. And it's okay to raise your hand and be like, hey, God, hey, how you do this? Like, I don't understand. And then God will come over, sit with us, and explain these things to us to where we understand. And when we understand these things, we can become, y'all know that student in the school who they real smart as fuck, so they help the teacher, help the students, class pet or something like that, teacher's pet. Yeah, we can become that, but with God, you know, to where we understand something, and so boom, we can go around the classroom helping other people solve their algebraic equations and stuff like that. We can be a service and help to God by helping others with what information we learn and have mastered, you know. So yeah, but we are the students. I don't care how grown we get. I don't care if we live to see 112. I don't care. We are still students. Every day is an opportunity to learn. Every day. Every day. We will never truly know all of what we need to know, ever. And that's okay. It's supposed to be like that. But all right, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I done already recorded for like 55 minutes. I pray that this was a help to you guys. Just know you're not alone. If it's anything in our lives that we're frustrated, overwhelmed about, it's just simply something we don't understand. If it's something in our lives that we're still grieving about, we just did not understand what really happened. We did not understand the lesson. If we're still upset about a breakup, a divorce, something like that, maybe something that happened in our childhood, it's just something that we truly did not understand. And it's our job to seek an understanding. If it was something traumatic that we went through, maybe it's still causing like PTSD, anxiety, I have that bad, I'm working on it. But it's something that we don't understand. And it's our job to seek an understanding. Why did this happen? What was it trying to show me? What was it trying to teach me? And instead of taking from that situation trauma and fear and anxiety and grief, Let me take from this situation knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and let me pass this on to somebody else. The things that happen in our lives don't have to be traumatic events. We make it that way. We choose to make that a traumatic situation instead of making it a lesson. We choose to make that something hard. We choose to, that's how we interpret it. As humans are used to interpreting things as a very low vibrational topic. We choose to look at it that way. We choose to look at it as something scary instead of an opportunity to learn, you know? So, yeah, that was just note to self. And that's like another reason why I like to talk on camera. Because once again, when I listen to other people talk, I learn. And when I listen to Yahweh talk within me to you guys through this camera, I learn that way as well. So communication in my life is very important because that's where I get most of my lessons and my understanding is from listening to people talk and listening to Yahweh talk within me. But yeah, I don't have to take fear and anxiety and grief from those past situations. Like my grandma passed, and I don't have to take grief from that situation. I'm choosing to do that, and it's because I lack understanding. I lack knowledge on what really happened. I lack understanding. You know, where things not working out with their dad, I have been choosing to walk away with resentment and anger and frustration and confusion. You know, it's all due to a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, you know. So that's very powerful to know that we get to choose how to look at situations. We get to choose how to feel. Whether we know that or not, that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. We get to determine what we take from these situations. That just put in my mind, if it's two people, right, who are both crossing the street and they both fall into a pothole, you know, one person could take that and be like, oh, what I took from that situation is don't never cross the street again. And another person who fell in that same pothole on the same street, they could take from the situation that, well, when I cross the street, I just need to go around that pothole. I need to jump over it, you know? So we get to choose how we interpret things in our lives, y'all. We get to choose how we see things. We get to choose how things make us feel. If somebody says something or does something and we get pissed off, we choose to react that way. Why? Like, why do we choose to get angry? Why do we choose to get overwhelmed at this situation? Why? Is it because it's out of habit? We saw when our parents react this way. That's like the average normal response to something like this. Like, that's like really triggering our subconscious at that point when we ask ourselves, why am I responding this way? Who did I learn this from? Why do I respond this way? What tells me, what within me is telling me that I have to respond this way and feel this way about this situation? Because there's like something I learned from my mom is that we are in many, like millions of different dimensions. In another dimension, the me who I am, she has two children as well, and when her children make a mess, she just cleans it up. She doesn't fuss, she doesn't yell, she doesn't get angry, she doesn't get overwhelmed. But in this reality, this dimension of who I am, my kids make a mess, I get extremely frustrated and overwhelmed. I'm just like, y'all always making a mess, da 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 da. And it's just like, why do I choose to be like this? Why do I choose to respond like this? Why do I choose to feel like this? Because I got options. I have options of how to respond. I have options on how to feel. So why do I keep going to frustration and being overwhelmed? Why do I keep choosing those reactions, those responses? Why do I keep choosing to feel like that? If I don't like it, which I don't like being frustrated, I don't like being overwhelmed, why do I keep choosing to feel like that? You know, and I have to really sit and allow Yahweh to show me that about myself. Why do I choose to feel like this? Why do I choose to get frustrated and yell at my kids when they make messes? Why do I do that? So self-discovery, asking questions, it helps us to get an understanding of ourselves, the people around us in life. You know, it helps us to understand. And when we understand, we can make peace with things. You know? But, yeah, y'all. That's all, though. I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Let me kisses. Oh, shit. I pray that, this video was a big help to you guys in some type of way. I pray that you took something very eye-opening from here. But just know every day is an opportunity to learn something. Okay? And if it's anything in our lives that has been bothering us, any things in our lives that does not sit well with us, it's just something we just simply do not understand. And it's our job to ask those questions. You know? And also, it's our job to listen, which is the hardest part. It's really the hardest part. So much stimulation. And if y'all like me, y'all got kids, they be running around the house yelling and stuff. So that's like the most difficult part. Like, it's nothing to ask a question and put out a prayer. That's nothing. That's nothing. But to really sit in peace and quiet and clear your mind enough to where spirit can actually answer you, that's a whole task, a whole job. You know, that's something we have to learn. And even if that's the question, how can I learn to listen to the spirit, the voice of God? How can I hear? What do I need to do to be able to hear a little better? You know? But I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I love y'all so much. And I hope that this video was of help to you guys. Yeah, just know we got this. We're not alone. And Yahweh is always in control. I don't know what everybody else call their God, but as for me on my channel, this is the God that I serve, Yahweh. And so don't feel offended. I'm very open to all the gods. Whatever you call on, I'm very open to it. We are all the same. We are all on the path of discovery and learning and getting close to God. So I don't shame anybody. I accept you for what you call God, and I would love for you guys to accept me as well for what I call God as well. We all are on the same path, okay? But I love y'all. Give me kisses. And continue to have a good rest of your day. And just know that I love you, okay?